Hello.
Hello, Joe. How are you?
Hi. I'm good. How are you?
Fine, just fine. Thank you for joining this interview with Bulldozer and Rocaxis in Chile. As you may know, Chile is one of the most interested countries in Gojira's music. So we are happy to interview you. So let's start. And first of all, how are you dealing with this pandemic thing these days?
Well, like all of us, I have to be patient. The situation in France is not too bad in the southwest of France where I am right now. But all our shows are canceled. For the last, for the last year, everything got canceled. The album release was postponed. So there was a lot of negative sides to it, but also there's a positive side to it. For Mother Earth, it was such a good break from all the planes and all that stuff. So that made me personally very happy. And equally as fantastic for me is that I was forced to stay home. So I stayed home with my kids. I have two beautiful kids. I have a beautiful wife. I'm very blessed with my family, and I was able to spend a whole summer with them, and then the whole year, which is almost too much at times for a musician. That is, you know what I mean. We all have that problem. Musicians, I think, we're used to go in and out of the house, disappear for 6 months, a year. Our families are, dealing with us being gone and stuff. But when we're there constantly, my wife sometimes is like, "So when are you going back on tour again?" But the only thing that could stop me from touring with my band Gojira was a global pandemic, and it happened in my lifetime while my kids are still at home. So for that, yeah, I'm like, oh, the stars were aligned on that one. But of course, I feel for all the people that lost friends, family, and all the people that are struggling, losing their businesses. Is a terrible thing. I'm just trying to be positive, for myself here.
The situation in Chile has been very rough for music business.
Okay.
Many
Yeah.
bands and local sites for music are closed now. Many bands are trying to figure out how to deal with it. How is the
Yeah.
French scene in that side?
Not too bad. Although I'm not a French citizen. I mean, I am a French citizen, but I don't live in France anymore. I've been, a New Yorker for 10 years. I lost all my privileges in terms of French assistance, healthcare, and what we call intermittence is a status that you get in France when you tour and you can prove that you did more than 50 shows a year. The government is supporting artists. So for all the artists that have that status in France, the government is actually supporting them and giving them money. So two of us in the band benefit from help from the government, but me and my brother, we lost that status when we moved to the States, so we don't have that. So yeah, it's a bit rough, but the French scene is gonna be not the one that hurts the most, I would say, in the world.
And let's go to the album now. How was the working process for Fortitude? It began, I think, uh, before the pandemic. How was it?
Way before, in 2018, we started to write songs and demos. 2 years, I was going to say 2 hours. It felt like 2 hours, but 2 years after we dropped Magma, we were on the road constantly. Again, like touring frenzy. People don't realize because we come one time or two times in their town, sometimes zero times. So they're like, what the fuck are they doing? But the truth is, we're constantly touring. So we get to be home a little bit here and there, but usually we're super tired. I feel like a carpet when I'm at home. I'm trying to gather my strength, and then I go back. And then when I feel good again, boom, I'm back on the road. So it's hard, man. It's really hard. What was the question again? I got lost for a second.
How was the working process? who did
Yes.
the job there composing the songs and
Yeah,
the
so we
brief?
started in 2000. Yeah, so I was going to say, sorry, that in 2018, things started to slow down in terms of touring. We stopped going on tour, and we decided to, start getting to the next album, because that's what we do, album, tour, album, tour, album, tour. So we almost don't have to say anything. We're like, okay, when do we need to start writing? And we need that space to write. We can't write on the road, really. And we started to work on a bunch of demos in 2018. By March 2019, we were ready to record. And then we were done in March 2020, a year later. We still had tours going on, but less, and all of it happened in New York, in my studio that I built back in 2014, where we did Magma. So now we have a solid headquarters in New York, where we can take our time, record demos, keep some of the material from demos for the album if it was good, linger and just take our time, pressure. And we came up with a lot of ideas, a lot of demos, a lot of jams. Jean-Michel and Christian, the other two guys came, they came a few times. We had sessions, band sessions. The rest of the time it was me and my brother and a laptop in the live room of the studio, messing around. And we had a lot of fun doing it. And I think what's interesting with this album is the way we recorded it, because we were committing as we were recording to a specific sound. For each part, there's a specific sound. For each riff, there's a specific, a couple of guitars put together. We would record something with my Charvel signature, and then underneath we'll take a Les Paul with a Mesa amp with a dirty sound, in order to get right off the bat the result we want to hear at mixing. We recorded it a certain way, So sometimes I know, because I mixed albums before, so I know that I need a very thin guitar that goes cha 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 cha, and I need a very heavy, dirty guitar that goes do 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 do. So we do several tracks with several amps and stuff, and it works. So when we sent that to Andy Wallace, he was okay. Well, I have very small work to do, so to speak. Of course, he's the man. Andy Wallace is the man. He mixed the album. He's a legend. Nevermind, Nirvana, Rage Against the Machine, first album, you name it, System of a Down, Slayer, Jeff Buckley, and so on. He's the man. We were super excited to work with him. We put extra effort in doing quality takes, and when we sent it to him, he just had to EQ a little bit, compress a little bit, work a lot with volumes, and he sent us back, what Fortitude is.
I was listening to the record this morning, and what I felt immediately was the Sepultura kind of roots in Chaos AD feeling. I don't know if you were in that page. What are your influences on this album?
Chaos AD is basically the album that got us started as a band.
Okay.
I was before forming the band, I had other bands in high school and stuff, and I was really heavily into Metallica, and that never left me. Metallica is my ultimate favorite band of all time.
I saw
that's what made me.
Sorry, I saw a photo with you with James Hetfield. So it must be.
Yes, he was my idol. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, but then when we get together as a band, 2 years before that, or that same year, Chaos AD came out, and it was a revelation for us. It was something new, something modern, something dangerous and super simple at the same time. And I was aware of their album Arise, but when Chaos AD came out, it was also easy to play. So we started to play as a band, a lot of Chaos AD songs, Refuse, Resist, and Territory, and we did some covers from Arise and stuff. But our first show was a lot of Sepultura covers, basically. So I guess we cannot hide our influences, you know.
And some new bands. Are you listening to some new bands?
Yeah, I mean, I love to discover new bands. You know, in New York, I go see shows all the time. You know, I mean, what's a new band to me is maybe not a new band to you. You know, for me, a new band is freaking Car Bomb, because
Oh,
of
okay.
the vibe there is, and they could constantly. Do you know the band Car Bomb from New York? I actually produced them. And there's another band called the Netherlands. It's not a new band per se, but it's a fairly unknown band that deserves so much attention because they're like absolutely amazing. Their leader, Timo Ellis, is worth checking because he's releasing music constantly. He's absolutely super talented. I like Code Orange, you know, the energy, the savage energy they have. They're also heavily influenced by Chaos AD, you can tell.
Yeah.
Kvelutak is not a new band, but I mean, they're
No,
label
but
mates. And
they are awesome. I like them a lot.
yeah, you know what? I actually, this is weird. I'm telling you this one because it's an interesting thing, and it's a bit out of the box. It's Greta Van Fleet, the band that sounds like Led Zeppelin, you know?
Do you
I
like
don't know if
them?
you heard of them, but one time I heard this band and I said, nah, it's just a copy, another pale copy of Led Zeppelin, you know, but very well done. But then I went back to them and listened to them again, and I saw their quality. I watched their live show at Red Rocks, and I really highly recommend it. It's a breath of fresh air and stuff. They have the you know, the outfits and the looks and the sound of the 70s. Incredible band, just for the energy that they, you know, project.
Yeah, I saw them kind of 2 years ago in a theater here in Chile, and I went with the same kind of I don't know if you can call it prejudice. And okay,
Yeah,
let's see what they are capable of. And they blew my mind.
yeah,
Basically, they are very good at live,
nice,
and they were
nice.
in Lollapalooza the day after that, and they just were amazing.
I mean,
So
these
they are
are
a
what,
great band.
24, 25, they're all under 25, and they
Yeah,
play like freaking gods, you know, like gods, like the feeling, you know, it's not the technique, although they are technical too,
yeah,
especially the guitar player and the singer. Obviously they display a lot of technique, but yeah, I think very,
the
very
groove.
interesting. And you know, it makes me happy to see kids grabbing up old school guitars and playing old school sound. It's absolutely amazing.
Great, great. Well, in another topic, the environmental issues are one of your core themes across all your discography. Are the
Yeah.
lyrics of Fortitude related to the current planet situation somehow? Are they applicable to the pandemic, for example?
What did you say at the end? I didn't understand the last word you said.
Your no, your interesting in environmental themes,
Environmental.
environmental
Yeah.
issues. Yes, are they applicable to this
Yes.
record, and are they applicable to the pandemia now?
Um, you know that the pandemic didn't happen when we started to write the music until we were done, really. It all happened during mixing, but it's true that it resonates with what's happening. You know, this album is about our music, our entire career, our efforts as a band, you know. The music and the message is one. And we've been always talking about the way we treat the planet and the way we treat ourselves and others and animals, and, you know, the obsession people have for competition and more, and the greed and all that, you know, and the lack of compassion, the lack of generosity of our systems, you know. So the result of all that is the pandemic. You know, it's really related to everything we're talking about. So it's only proving our point. What's happening right now. If we're in deep trouble, it's because of this overactivity, lack of wisdom, lack of thinking, lack of. I'm not saying I'm all this. You know, I'm not wise. I'm not. But I'm trying to be. You know, I'm trying to inspire myself to educate myself even through poetry. You know, writing songs. I'm trying to push. I'm trying to imagine a good scenario for myself, a good message to be delivered. And while doing that, I sort of force myself to try to go towards that, you know, be more compassionate and more patient, and try to practice what I preach, pretty much. But it's mainly inspiration. It's not a diary. You know what I mean? Yeah, I think these topics are really, really important. And yeah.
In line with that, you are working with a Brazilian foundation in a fundraising initiative. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Me and my brother were in the studio one day. We saw the terrible images of the Amazon on fire. Like everybody else, our heart was broken, you know. And the sensation of feeling helpless, and there's nothing we can do. This absolute treasure is burning, you know, is just disappearing before our eyes. And although these are images and numbers and sort of virtual, and we don't know what's happening over there, but I know enough to know that it's greed and the criminal behavior of humans for profit that is destroying the Amazon forest. And I know also that the people that live in the forest are the real deal, the real people. They know they live with the forest, with things. They hunt exactly what they need. They gather what they need. They take care of the trees. They replant. They use. They reuse. They are the real meaning of economy. Economize is to save, is to preserve, and what we call economy in our modern societies is to spend, you know, and to sell, break, resell, planned obsolescence, all these things. It's not sustainable. It's not working. We need to learn from the indigenous people in the forest. What do we do instead of learning from them? We kill them. We destroy them. It's a genocide that's happening over there. You're probably aware of the situation, but the cattle industry, the meat industry, growing soybeans to feed the cattle, to eat the meat. This is not sustainable. And for that, my friend, I want to say, go vegan. You know, this is the number one thing for me that needs to be done in this world. It's not a trend. It's not a fashion. It's not a hipster thing. It's a revolution. It's here at your doorstep. And if you're not going vegan, at least reduce your consumption of meat and dairy, because that's where the key is. We are the clients. We are commending the Brazilian government to cut down the trees of the Amazon. We're responsible. I don't have my wallet here, but I say, this is your weapon. You know, I show my wallet and I say, this is your weapon. This is how you can change things. It doesn't need to be full of money. A little money. You go to the store, you buy things that are grown locally, or you buy oat milk instead of buying cow milk, and then you're saving the Amazon by doing that. That's the thing number one that I want to come across, and this is really my point in all the interviews is we have the power. You know, we do have the power. We cannot just sit and have bad habits and consume things without thinking blindly and wait for our governments to solve the problem, because they're not solving anything. Just want to be re-elected. It's just short-term profit. This is enough. You know what I mean? It's enough. I'll do whatever I can. I won't shut up until this fucking promotion is over, but I'll spread that message, because I just want people to realize that we have the power. One little thing can change a lot, you know? And I've been talking about this before too. And even though I'm not scared to look stupid, or, you know, like a hippie that, you know, is in his ideas. I come from a rich country. I'm white, you know, what do you know? but I think, my message is addressed mostly to the people that are, part of this, 5% of the world that is consuming too much. So I was lucky enough to know a lot of amazing art activists in New York. One of them is Adriana Varela. She's Italian, Brazilian, New Yorker. She's an artist. She's absolutely outrageous. She goes out in the street with a fig tree burning by herself and a megaphone, and she's crying for the Amazon. This person is an inspiration to me, and she's a dear friend of mine. She happens to be Brazilian, among other nationalities. She goes to the Amazon forest often, and she meets with some leaders of the tribes of the Amazon. So she introduced me to them. I talked to them, listened to their problems and their needs, and see how I could help. And turns out they need money to rebuild what's been burnt, to buy alcohol, masks, medicine to fight COVID. They're badly, badly hit by COVID. And to be able to give birth and all these things on indigenous land. So I reached out to all my friends in famous bands, and they all said, yep, got you. I have a snare, I have a bass, I have a picture, I have a t-shirt, whatever. So showing that support, of course, there's money in the end, and we already have enough to build all these cabins and stuff, but it's also a tremendous, tremendous message sent to these indigenous populations. There are millions of them. And they really, really appreciate to know that there's a bunch of metal bands that care about them and the Amazon. So the whole thing is a win-win,
It's great. It's great. And I get the message. And the thing is that in terms of lyrics, this record seems to be less personal than Magma, for example. So I guess that, but in a sense that you reflect this, we have the power thing that you are talking about in the lyrics. So it all go together,
Yes, yeah. It could be a put together. Magma and Fortitude. It could be one entire album. You could put all of our albums together, and it's still sort of relevant. There's a progression. We're getting older. I'm not 18 anymore. Like when I recorded my first album, now I'm 44. Imagine that. So of course I have, a different life. I'm not living at my parents anymore, although I am in my parents' house now, but that's another story.
Great.
I have kids, I tour. We tour a lot. We play arenas. We play stadium. We open for bigger bands and stuff. And our music is evolving with that too, And we need to fill that space in front of us with music. What is going to come out of us? And some things on this album are very different, like the chant, for example, who's a sort of a big long mantra / jam, and we enjoyed it so much. It was a real pleasure to do that,
Very, very, very doomy, like very kind of
it's a little
spacey,
too, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
great. Do you feel that going back to Magma, do you feel that Magma was the breakthrough album that reached another public for Gojira?
That's what people say. People say that, and it's true. When I think about it, Magma was the time when we started to be played on the radio a little more, and all of a sudden we started to headline some festivals. But it didn't come overnight either. It was, this is sort of the level of fame we're in now. So first album, second album, third album, 4, 5, 6, that was Magma. But from 4 to 5 was also a big jump, and from 5 to 6 was an equal jump. I don't see our career going like this and boom with Magma. It's just we reached that level with Magma. And turns out we had 2 songs in there that could be listened, a little different. They're not like crazy trips. Silvera and Stranded were like more structured and there's choruses, but that's us having fun also, and there's always this thing of selling out. Selling out is a bad word. Selling out is a bad thing, but in our case, it's more playing we're playing with it, you know, we're trying to make songs. Oh, cool, songs. Yeah, we're playing a stadium, we play a song, it's fun, it's great. So we're doing it.
Great. You take it more kind of relaxed. You are not trying
No, yeah,
to
of
be
course. I mean,
moralist, you know. Yeah.
yeah, of course. And also, I don't know, maybe the day I die, my soul's going to go on top of my body and I'm going to look at the whole history of I'll be like, damn, I fucked up. But for now, I just think we're having fun and it's working and we're doing art. We have a certain standard, you know, we want to reach and we want to stay by this standard. We want to be happy with what we do. We want to be satisfied internally with, you know, what we create and the shape that is taking our music and our career. We're very proud of it. We're not fucking around, you know. We're really working super, super hard for that shit. So every single song that we drop is like a baby that we love dearly.
And well, Terra Incognita celebrated 20 years this year. So among that, I'm very surprised that many people consider Gojira like a kind of a new band. But the truth is that you were playing since the 90s. So musical press is always searching for the replacement of Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, Metallica, I don't know, the big names. Do you feel that Gojira is on its way to be one of the greatest bands, like to take this
question.
this site?
Well, that would be fun, you know. If it doesn't happen, it's fine. But if it happens, it's absolutely mind blowing. You know, it's sort of it feels like I'm in a movie right now. You know, and everything is doing so well for us. And you know, people consider us a new band. I like that too. You know that, but it's normal too because remember Fame, where we started. We started super low. And here we were not famous at all, just in our area. And then here we're famous in France. And here we're famous in Belgium and France, you know? So when we got the world's attention by album 4, like, oh shit, a new band. And here we are. But it's been a while, actually, you know, there's 15 years of our career that is just practicing to become international, basically. So, yeah. So we'll see, you know, I'm in a movie. I'm enjoying this movie. Of course, I want to see a happy ending. I want to see us being the next Metallica or the next Iron Maiden. Yeah, sure. If it doesn't happen, you know what? I have a family. I have my friends, and I'm having a blast playing music. So I'll always be happy.
That's great that you have that kind of I don't know, that kind of vision. That you are happy with it, because many musicians tell, nah, that's not for me, or that's not what we want to do. But I feel a passion for metal and for music. Listening to Gojira now, talking with you, seeing you live. So that's great. That's super great. And that's and
Thanks, man.
and new bands also, or people in houses can relate to the kind of Gojira sound now. It's more established now than ever. And I saw in internet the a neural DSP plugin to, I don't know, to take the sound like Gojira. Are you involved in that?
Yeah.
Kind of plugin thing to?
Yeah, heavily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please.
Basically,
like
we were. The new DSP plugin is an incredible tool. Not only, well, I was heavily involved in this, you know, I did all the graphics for the pedals and I reimagined the Gojira logo also for the amp. I was scanning stuff and sending it to these guys, you know, and they have a fantastic team. All their products are, you know, top notch and pretty affordable compared to the quality of the thing also. And I you know, kudos on that, because Really, I don't know how they do this. They basically took my touring gear and broke it down and then analyzed it and reproduced it in data. So you have the same responses on the knobs and everything. And what I love about these products, two things: the quality of the sound, absolutely amazing, and they will run producing music. It's a great tool. And then second is that it would take a lot of energy to be able to compare, you know, 3 heads with 3 amps and pedals and a whammy and an octaver. You have all these virtual pedals, and you can try all these combinations. It's almost, you know, an infinity of combinations that you can try. But in real life, it would be really hard to do. You would have to change the batteries of so many pedals, or having all these cables, you know what I mean? And all these little, you know, cables everywhere, and like a bunch of amps, and you would have to run in the back and the spider nets to change the, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
To be able to we did that setup sort of in the studio for the album, but it was so much work every day to, you know, and there's always something breaking. Here, for like, you know, not so much money, like you have an incredible professional tool and you have all these options, which I find really good for creativity.
Yeah, it is. It is. So
did I sell it well? Did I sell the plugin well?
Very well, indeed. No, I think that it's amazing to, I don't know, to start listening to metal, and then that the metal industry wants to, I don't know, to capture your sound, you know?
Yeah.
That means that you created a new sound. It's cool.
Well, I don't know. But I like the sound of that, but it's years and years of one step after the other, you know, and proving that we're worth something live, and people's, you know, we have people's attention. But honestly, there's a million guitar players in this world that are way better guitar players than me, that know more about sound, that have more knowledge, you know what I mean? But I happen to be in this position where I'm in a band that's successful for some reason. What we do resonates with the world, and my approach is a lot of thinking, a lot of working, but not really. I'm not a geek per se, you know. Sometimes I don't know how it's called, a certain part or a certain setting, but I just use my ears a lot, and I like to go straight to the point, and I think people appreciate that probably.
Great. Well, finally, do you have any special memory from your first and only visit to Chile?
Yes, sir. It was incredible. Yeah, it's amazing. I loved the whole day. It was so special too, because the bill was incredible. It was this festival in a stadium, right? And there was Deftones.
Yes, Lamb of
Gojira,
God.
Lamb of God, System of a Down.
Faith No More.
Christ's sake. Faith No More, are you kidding me? I was hanging out with Mike Patton backstage. He was having a good time. And Meshuggah was there.
Meshuggah, yeah.
Meshuggah was there? What? I mean, what an incredible bill. Don't tell me Mastodon was there too. Were they there?
They were in the lineup, but then they had some problems, and they had to play separate from the festival. But yes, it was an incredible festival.
Yeah, I knew they were involved somehow, but what a great bill, you know, that only, it happens sometimes in the summer. This festival is incredible. Metallica, Slayer, Iron Maiden, you know, I've seen some amazing lineups, but this one had something very homey, you know.
Yeah.
It's a certain vibe, it's a certain generation. It's bands that blossomed in the 90s, and there was this thing. System of a Down, their sound was insane. It was my brother's birthday. He had a few beers and then he threw up on the plane on the way back. Yeah. That was also a funny anecdote. And in my studio, I loved that show so much that in my studio, Silver Cord in New York, I have a poster of that festival.
Wow.
Yeah, and the poster is beautiful too. It's sort of handmade. I love everything about that show. The crowd was incredible. So I cannot wait to come back, guys.
Yes, please. Well, with the pandemic, it's not possible now, but maybe some.
Wait and see. It's gonna come back, my friend.
Please,
let's have a
we
little
need it.
taste.
We need it so much. We
Yeah,
need it
yeah.
so much. We need concerts so much.
Absolutely. I have to leave now. I'm already 7 minutes late for my next
Yeah.
interview.
Sorry, Joe. It was
Don't be
a
sorry.
pleasure to talk with you. So
Same wise.
hope to see you next time.
Yes, me too, my friend. Bye. Take care.
Bye. Take care.
Bye.
Thank you.
You too. Thanks.